Hello and welcome to my terribly lit YouTube channel. So I am going to be just want to say hello first, and I want to say that I'm going to be drawing some cards tonight for you and going into a deep spiritual message. Yes, I have not great lighting. Yes, my quality of videos isn't great right now, but you know what, y'all? I got passion. And there's something to that, you know what I mean? There's something to that. I think, and I'm not saying that about myself, specifically. I'm just saying, I know I've watched YouTube videos of all sorts just because the actual connection was there, so just throwing that out there, that I am aware that my quality of videos isn't like super impressive, to say the least, but it's impressive. Or what's beyond impressive is just like, if you connect with it. I'm really, really stoked that you're here, and I am really excited to get into a beautiful reading. So I have these cards, which are the sort of like Green Witch Oracle deck, and then I have these cards, which are all about the chakras, and I have these cards, which are the Mushroom Spirit Oracle. And we're going to get into it a little bit here. I'm going to go ahead and start off. I'm going to go ahead and start off with pulling, a chakra card for everybody who's here. And that's my intention, is to give you a deep spiritual message. Oh, and this was it just here. Okay. This literally just popped into my hand somehow. I feel like a magician right now. Let your energy be used to build, not destroy. That's a beautiful message. So that's going to sort of be at the background. The card that flew out said insecurity, confusion. Wow. So you're going through a lot right now. I'm seeing this woman, dark-haired woman specifically right now, in my mind's eye. And she's sort of going through this storm. Impartiality. Okay, so right now you are possibly feeling very a lot of emotional turmoil. And it's hard to separate when you have a trigger from what you're supposed to do. What I mean by this. So you're having these triggers and you're like wanting to act and make big decisions in your life based on those emotional triggers. So somebody sets you off and you're like, that's it. I'm no longer going to be around this person. I have to go a million miles away from them because they keep setting me off. Miracle. Everything right now is happening in this way that it seems like someone's setting you up. It almost seems like a Truman Show. And this isn't a good way though. You might feel like, dude, I really feel like my, this angelic presence in my life right now. Balance. Okay. Finding balance, and learning to look at both sides. So what I was speaking about with the triggers, that may have been your recent past, and now you're coming into recognizing that you have to be able to sit in the storm, sit in the fire, and look at both both the logical and the emotional, and then realize that you're neither one, right? And so then you are basically balanced more in your spirit. Okay. What would be like an example of this for a spirit? Acceptance. Exactly. Wow, so you've had this deep acceptance lately of this, the fact that you don't need to be moving anywhere specifically. You don't need to be trying to exert yourself to change your life. You're just going to change your inner atmosphere. And you're really starting to accept the fact that, like, the more you run away, the more your problems are chasing after you, almost like a zombie apocalypse or something. You just keep raising the dead of all of your past issues. Yeah, productivity under this miracle. So that's what I'm finding, is that, like, you're going to find yourself being able to be more productive towards your goals, towards your desires, because you're now not focused on, exactly. You're not focused on running away. I'm saying exactly because when I yawn, a lot of times it's like, oh, that's hitting home. You're no longer going to be able to run away, right? And you realize this, so you're like, okay, I guess I'll just sit here and I'll just actually work on my goals, and I'll stop avoiding the things that I want to do. Communication, and that's on that balance. So what you're finding is that as you're able to sit in the storm, you're actually able to get clearer on how you want to express yourself and what you need to communicate with somebody in order to truly stand in your power and express yourself and actually get your needs met, you know? So that's huge. That's fire right there. That's astonishing, right? It's astonishing when you realize, oh, I can just be here and I can be myself. And it's this like wildly amazing realization that a lot of people have at different times. Ooh, vitality and energy popped out together, which is like a very similar message, right? And it's almost like a double whammy is what I'm seeing this as, which is interesting because that initial message that I got was, you know, let your energy be used to build, not destroy. Oh, and well, wouldn't you know, that's perfectly aligned with the message that has been flowing out of me, is like, you're realizing that because you're less bothered by everything that somebody else is saying, you're actually able to get more and more traction, and you're actually able to feel more energetically aligned, energetically effective, energetically empathic, energetically true, energetically, like, just your energy is on fire right now. Your energy is on point. Your energy is being conducted in a way that you've maybe never quite had. You know, it's like you're running on all cylinders, and at the same time, you're doing it in a lower gear. Like, you don't even have to exert yourself. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. You don't have to exert yourself as much in order to get an even better result. So that's a beautiful start off message. Now, I want to also tap into something with you that is, if you are not already feeling that way, then we're going to dive into what messages there are for you in order to really start to bring about this awareness, the balanced awareness, the awareness of all aspects, and then yourself as being this observer, right? And also to tap into this beautiful energy that's available for you. Beautiful and very beautiful, bold, bright energy, and very strong, very powerful, very, very spiritual. This is very spiritual energy. Okay, so there's isolation. Card number 30. Yin, exactly. Look at that. Speaking about energy. Yin, number 10. So that's that yin, that feminine energy, specifically speaking about an energy. Oh yeah, subtlety. Okay, so the message, the very clear message coming through. Sorry, it is going to be backwards. For anyone curious about the mushrooms that actually came out, parrot wax cap, tremella, and fairy ink cap. Okay, so yeah, we have number 30, 10, and 22. And with that yin coming out, I'm so sorry, I keep yawning. Okay, yeah, that's the clear message to let you know you can relax. You can let it all go. You can let your hair down. You can let it flow. You can let yourself rest more than you even think you need to. So you might normally have a schedule of you go to bed at 11 and that works for you, right? And or 10:30, let's say, for whatever reason, I feel like I'm being called to say 10:30. You go to bed at 10:30 and you wake up at 8, And that's my view. See, I'm yawning. It's like this perfect, oh my gosh. You're more tired than you realize. You're more tired than you realize. So you might normally go to bed at 10:30, you wake up at 8 and you're like, hey, that's a long night's sleep. You know what I mean? Like, I'm getting good sleep. And this is like, you're going to need to sleep even, like, let yourself rest even longer. Or maybe it's that you go to bed at 10:30 and you wake up at like 5:30, you know what I mean? So it's more like that. And so you're like, I'm getting like 8 hours. Like, that's pretty good. Or 7 hours, you know? And it's like, no, you might need 9, 10 hours, maybe even more on a given night, just because you're going through a lot of healing right now. Defense and balance. Oh my goodness. This card, it's going to say it backwards. And it's going to be hard to read. But at the bottom, in the small letters, it's literally saying balance. Okay, and this is all coming out with like this white light colors. So the balance that's happening right now is you being receptive to your inner energy. And I just witnessed, like, in my mind's eye, someone's solar plexus really tingling. So there's some emotional codex, there's some emotional frequency that needs to that is really asking to come through you in order for you to fully accept your reality and to fully move through something, to fully heal from something. Wow, this message is really deep, and it is interesting doing general readings because I'd love to tap into a singular sort of message, but I'm keeping it general at the moment. And yeah, I mean, I do personal readings, so if you are interested in a personal reading, you can message me. But to go more further into the details and everything, I'm just keeping it open. Yeah, it says, bats, you're driving yourself crazy. Just tapping into some of the shadow aspects right now. Yeah, you're just on overdrive. You don't realize that you're working harder than you need to work, because you're putting your energy slightly in this like struggling direction. And I just tapped into something. So you've actually been working towards changing habits, and you're in this point where you changed your habit for a long time, but for a good amount of time by now. But right now you're having these certain things creep up that it's like you're at odds with each other, and you haven't given way to just fully allowing for the changes to take place. So let's say that you've been, at a new job, and the new job is going really well, but all of a sudden you start to feel like this resistance towards your boss or the people that you're working with, and you're like, whoa, I was really enjoying this. Why am I feeling like this all of a sudden? It's these old patterns that you still held on to from your last job that are creeping back. Because remember when we talked about that pattern of sort of running away from something, and then eventually you find out, oh, I'm raising the dead, these the dead again. Like, I'm raising, or not raising the dead, but the undead, are following me again. What the opportunity is right now is to really be mature and realize that you need to face this energy within you that's constantly posing what you think is a battle, but what it is really just this alternative perspective that you're refusing to acknowledge. Yeah, evolve. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, being mature and actually saying, you know what? This has been following me long enough. I'm actually going to decide to evolve. I'm actually going to decide to fully recognize what it is that's occurring within me that is causing this. And even if you're confused, even if you're not sure, even if you feel like, well, I kind of already have done that on this like mental level of I've recognized, and even somewhat emotional level of I've recognized that it was probably from this in my past, or this and this and this. Even when we recognize that it was probably something from our past or directly related to something in our past, that doesn't mean that the emotional work, like I was talking about, your solar plexus work, that doesn't mean, or your sacral, I'm sorry, I said solar plexus before, I meant sacral. It doesn't mean that you've fully gotten your sacral on board. It doesn't mean that you've fully gotten your root chakra on board. That's this acceptance. Okay, it's really big root chakra energy with this, all this red. That's where the acceptance needs to happen. Maybe you've mentally realized it, but you have to get your whole body and being on board in order for your whole body and being to feel safe. Strength. Yeah. Go into that shadow, baby. And that's what all this rest is about. Go into literally like the darkness, you know, obviously, if you're in, you know, depending what part of the world you're in right now, the days are either getting shorter or longer, but right now, where I am at least, it's winter. And so for me, you know, there's still pretty long nights. So I would just say a lot of darkness. It sounds interesting, right? We're a lot of times told, like, go out into the sun, and absolutely, like, get out into the sun. But what is happening right now is this desire, even from the beginning, is that isolation. There's something really beautiful right now in going into your own sacred home of yourself and saying, and internally telling yourself, giving yourself the nod, okay, I'm really ready to change this. I'm really ready to shift. And just making that declaration continually, letting that be your mantra, letting that be what you go back to again and again and again. I'm pulling one more. Just felt the call. FOMO, clear your vibes. Yeah, there's just this clearing that needs to happen. And it's very spiritual, so I'm not going to say it's because of this so that you can go on to the next chapter. Yeah. That stuff's all going to happen. But what I think is really important is for you to give this dedicated, devoted time to, this is for my spiritual evolution. This is for my growth. Because otherwise you're going to keep feeling the same way, to be honest. You're going to keep feeling like you haven't tapped into what your soul's calling you to do. And you totally are. Where you're at right now is perfect. And where you're at right now is divine. And it's holy and it's sacred and it's beautiful. And I'm just, by sharing this message with you, I'm just wanting to validate you and where you are and let you know that yes, when you go into your isolated chamber, I kind of took that from a friend of mine. He had a song about that. But yeah, when you go into your space of like darkness and being with yourself, and I just mean physical darkness, but within yourself, whatever you see, allow yourself to see it. And you know what? I just had this thought in this picture. This being is actually holding it. It's hard to see on my camera. They're holding a teddy bear. If you have some sort of teddy bear or something you can hold, or just a pillow, something to keep you feeling safe still, that's totally great. But just be with yourself and your energy and choose what you want around you. And yeah, okay, I gotta go. My phone's about to die.